Hello and welcome to your astrological forecast for the month of July 2022. I'm Laurel, your host, and I'm going to be talking about all of the energy and all of the astrology transits that will be happening in the month of July. Welcome if you're new here, and welcome back if you have been a subscriber for some time. If you can and you like these videos, please subscribe so that you can get astrology, yoga, and meditation videos every single week. And they are free. They are open to the public. This is my gift to the community I am trying to build with Wild Wandering Creations. Welcome always. Welcome everyone. So let's jump right into it. June turned out to be a little bit of a rocky month for me personally, at least. Pisces risings, let me know if that was the same for you. Last week of June felt like a lot with that new moon energy, that new moon in Cancer. It was aspecting Jupiter, making it extremely expansive and expanding our emotions. And I felt particularly tired under this new moon energy. Moving into July, the energy of July is a little bit up and down. There's some good energy. There's some, maybe, I don't like to say not good energy, but maybe more challenging energy. So just keeping an open mind and adopting that flexible attitude and keeping that idea of this ebb and flow, that we can't always be in this like super positive energy, but we can't always be in the super negative energy. So it's all about how we adapt to the energy around us and how we work with the energy. And of course, it's our perspective, it's our outlook. So making sure that when we are going through astrology forecasts, remember that this is my personal interpretation. It could be interpreted completely different from somebody else, but I always like to find the positive outlook in every aspect, whether it's more challenging or more positive, and that is 100% my Pisces rising attitude. So I hope that you enjoy these forecasts. So on July 5th, we have Mercury entering Cancer. So Mercury is moving away from the sign of Gemini into the sign of Cancer. And we are more concerned with the quality of information and our engagement rather than the quantity, whereas Gemini is very much a lot of information all at once. It's a lot of new ideas. It's a lot of interactions. And Cancer is really looking for that quality. So we're able to absorb information on a deeper level with a better understanding of our intuition, because Cancer is very much attuned to our intuitive nature. So we're able to really get in touch with how we're feeling. We're able to really get in touch with what our emotional needs are and what helps us feel nurtured and cared for. This makes us more interested in how we are feeling in our interactions, in our learnings, in our conversations. And we're also a little bit more sensitive to the opinions of others, because Cancer is that more emotional, more sensitive sign. So just being aware of that and being mindful of those interactions with other people. On July 5th, we also have Mars entering Taurus. So it's moving away from the sign of Aries. So when Mars was in Aries, it was in its home sign. So it makes Mars a little bit extra fiery. Aries, of course, brings out that like war and anger in Mars, and it makes it feel a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more heated. Which explains a lot of what happened with the astrology of June, with recent events with the US, the rise in gun violence and the rise violence against women's rights. So there has been a lot of heat and a lot of aggressive energy happening in June. And now that we're moving into the sign of Taurus, this slows things down significantly. And it kind of brings a more calm energy to Mars. It does move away from action-oriented Aries, so we are more deliberate and more patient in our actions. So we have a lot of more time, and we're more meticulous in our work. So it doesn't mean that we're not working towards goals, but we have a more determined effort, and it's slower. How am I trying to say this? We are able to see the long-term picture. So it might not be instant gratification in our goals, but we are steadily working towards them. It also brings a stubborn nature and like this resistance to change. So we're more set in our ways, and it's unlikely that things are going to shift and change because we're more set in our ways here. So all of that like tumultuous energy and a lot of that like big changes happening that happened in June is going to still here. So this gives us an opportunity to just kind of pause and reflect and maybe work out how we want to move forward in our life and how we want to move forward collectively. So this is giving us a chance to pause and breathe. This is also a more passive placement in terms of speaking up for ourselves or speaking for our truth. So just be mindful of those passive aggressive tendencies, because we can be more passive in the way we assert ourselves. On July 13th, we not only have a full moon in Capricorn, but we also have Venus trine Saturn. Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius. Venus is in the sign of Gemini. So look to see where these placements fall in your chart to see where these themes are taking place. We are generally overall satisfied with reliable and stable relationships. We're able to recognize that everyone is human and that, of course, human beings make mistakes. So we're able to release those unrealistic expectations of one another, and we're able to understand that nobody's perfect. So it's a good time to discuss any relationship problems because we're able to see the perspective of others. And financially speaking, we're probably more conservative and concerned about protecting our resources. So that makes a lot of sense, especially the way the economy is going with recession and gas prices rising. We're more conservative and we're more practical in our spending. So this is a good transit for business matters and relationships, and we are able to be fair in all situations. So we're able to see all sides. With that full moon in Capricorn, with that added energy of Venus trine Saturn, and we also have an aspect to Pluto, so it's forming a conjunction with Pluto. So this is a more serious tone to a full moon, and Capricorn generally is a more serious sign, as it's ruled by Saturn, it's ruled by that structure, stability. It's a hardworking sign. Capricorn, of course, has workaholic tendencies. I know better than anyone with all my strong Capricorn placements. And it brings a big focus to our long-term goals. So we're starting to work steadily towards them. And it's a really good time to reflect on ways that you can acquire more stability in your lifestyle. So what's going to help you feel safe and secure in your day-to-day? And what's going to help you practically work to those long-term goals? Again, we're not getting that instant gratification, but we know that if we work steadily, if we're patient, if we're persistent, we will attain the goals and dreams that we're working towards. It's also called a strawberry moon, and it's called a strawberry moon because it happens around the same time that berries are generally ready to be gathered. And of course, Capricorn desires this desire to build something lasting. So we're able to apply patience, we're able to apply effort and endurance to those goals and dreams. And we are starting to really think about what those goals and dreams are, because Capricorn very much wants to be viewed as successful and capable. So those themes are present under this full moon influence. There's a big lesson about appreciation and acknowledgement for all of the hard work that we've been putting in. But it's also important, Capricorn is also this reminder that you need to recognize and appreciate your effort on an individual level, because sometimes we can be trying to attain that acknowledgement and that recognition from others, but we need to look within and know that the only recognition we need is from ourselves. So really finding that acknowledgement. With that conjunction with Pluto, that planet of transformation, death, rebirth, power, this is deepening that serious tone and intensifying our emotional experience. And of course, full moons are already an emotional experience. It intensifies any emotions. And with Pluto there, it's amplifying it even more. It's charging them up even more. And that power dynamic is important to look at our relationships, our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with work, our relationship with collective, because it's that power influence. Where's that power dynamic, and what shifts and changes can you make in your life to find that balance and harmony within those power dynamics? And are they healthy? Are you in a healthy relationship with power, whether it's power from somebody else, authority from somebody else, or if it's with a power dynamic within yourself? As you can see, that seems like a pretty intense full moon, especially looking to see where Capricorn falls in your chart. A lot of people, millennials, will have strong Capricorn placements with Uranus and Neptune. So look to see where that's falling in your chart, because that's going to be a pretty impactful full moon for that generation. On July 14th, we have Venus square Neptune. So Neptune is in the sign of Pisces right now. It's also stationed retrograde, and Venus is in the sign of Gemini. So this transit generally stimulates our romantic imagination, causing us to be somewhat unrealistic in our dealings with loved ones and unrealistic in our views and perception of what we value and how we view romance in general. So it can lead to feelings of insecurity about ourselves and our appearance, because of course Neptune rules that and Venus is our values. So we can start to feel insecure, and it lowers our self-esteem under this influence. But it's important to be mindful that this is our perception of reality. So there can be a false sense of reality here. So being aware that your perception of yourself or your perception of how other people view you could be false. So trying not to take it personally. And a lot of the times we think that people are judging us from the outside when really they're not, and it's just how we're perceiving their energy. So really being aware of that. I always like to say this because I am also a yoga teacher, as many of you already know, and I always joke that sometimes when I'm teaching a yoga class, I think that people hate the class because of the look on their face or the expression they're making. But it's how I'm perceiving them. It's how I'm understanding them, but it could be wrong. So making sure that you're aware of this, because we can have those unrealistic views. Daydreaming is also prominent under this influence, and it's also encouraged because it will help spark that inspiration and creativeness and help spark new ideas. It's just important that you need to remember that eventually you have to come back to reality, and you need to find ways to reground yourself in the present moment. Make sure that you are setting realistic expectations in your romantic dealings, because sometimes we can be unrealistic, and making sure that if any love or any romantic relationships are formed under this transit, so under July 14th, that you take time to nourish and grow the relationship and not jump into anything, because we could be viewing it through rose-colored glasses. So it could be unrealistic, and we could be more prone to fantasies in regards to our romantic dealings. So make sure that you're being practical and realistic. On July 16th, we have the Sun in Cancer conjunct Mercury in Cancer. So this transit emphasizes the area of your life ruled by Mercury. So looking to your chart to see where this energy is most prominent. We're likely to have many conversations, more likely to talk rather than listen under this transit. And this transit also takes initiative, and it starts new things. So we might feel collectively and on an individual level that we want to start something new. Our mind is generally clearer than usual, and we have a little difficulty concentrating. So this will be a really good day to get down to business. We're easily able to express our point of view. It's an excellent day for sharing a new business venture, and it's a good time to make plans for our future. This is generally a positive transit, but we may feel a little restless, so could inspire some travel. Good time to get outside and allow yourself to experience the world, and try to place that restlessness into work. So if there's a project that you've been working on, if there's something that you've been really wanting to focus on, put all of your energy there, because your mind will be clearer than usual. On July 17th, we have the Sun trine Neptune. Again, Sun is in Cancer, Neptune is in Pisces. Remember that Neptune is retrograde. So this arouses an inner idealism, strong desire to understand a deeper, more spiritual level of reality. Remember, with Neptune stationing retrograde, sometimes we can be second guessing ourselves more, and maybe having a more difficulty tapping into our intuition, and more difficulty even tapping into our spirituality, maybe even questioning ourselves a little bit more. The use of energy today can get a clear idea of where you are in life right now. It can bring more truth. It can clear the fog away from Neptune when it's in retrograde. So it allows us to uncover where we want to be in our life. It can increase our sensitivity to the world around us, so make sure that you're protecting your energy. And the religious influence and experience will likely be heightened under this transit, so we could see more of a religious uprising collectively, and more ideas around that, more spirituality rising collectively, and of course be aware of unrealistic expectation and idealism with Neptune. July 17th, we also have Venus entering Cancer. So Venus, the planet of love and beauty, moving into the sign of nurturing, comfort, and the cultivation of protection and security. So our sensitivity to the outer world is increased, feeling more protective over our emotional needs, as Venus is our values, Cancer is our emotions, ruled by the moon. We are romantic, and the need for feelings of love is definitely more prominent. And I really feel like the need for love and comfort in the world is also going to be heightened at this time. Might feel more likely to want to spend time at home, indulging in the familiarity of comfort, and we are more likely able to show our affection for loved ones through our devotion. We 100% will feel our best when we feel safe and secure in our most intimate and personal relationships. So just being aware of that. July 17th, we also have Mercury in Taurus, trine Neptune in Pisces. So this is stimulating our creative imagination, much more sensitive to the world. There's a desire to spend the day daydreaming, which as a Pisces rising, you know I love it. It's a good day to escape reality through romance, through poetry, art, fantasy literature, and maybe even through music. We're really wanting to experience music and art and poetry and all those simple pleasures in life that help us look outside of the harsh realities of the world. So don't worry about today about wasting time. It's okay to escape reality for a little while. Just being mindful that eventually we do have to return to reality, but those little moments of escapism are 100% okay if we are able to come back to what is true. Likely to lack necessary discipline, so it can be a more challenging day when it comes to getting work done, because we kind of just want to get away from that. We want to get away from what is reality and what is our responsibility. We really want to escape responsibility. Mystical and spiritual subjects will likely be of interest and on the rise. Intuition is stronger under this influence, and we're likely more compassionate, and our desire to practice self-care rituals is at an all-time high. Good day to retreat and come back to yourself. Good day to go to the spa. July 18th, Mercury is opposite Pluto. Again, Mercury is in the sign of Taurus. Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn. And this is a good transit for solving problems, either in relationships or another situation. It can also trigger intellectual conflicts with another person, so just being mindful of that. There is, under this influence, sometimes others trying to convince us of a truth we are unwilling to accept, or you could be the one doing so, just being mindful of that. This combination also rules all kinds of propaganda and indoctrination, so any communication that is designed to change your thinking. So being mindful of the information that you're absorbing and that you're choosing to interact with under this influence. be careful that you're not getting talked into something that you don't believe in. So I read a book really recently that was really interesting. It's called Cultish. And if you are into cults, like the fascination of how cults work, I find this book super fascinating. And the most fascinating aspect about this book was the language. So it's the language we use. The language is so important. The words we choose are so important. And that is how advertising works. That is how we get influenced by others. This is how leaders gain followings. Language is so important. So would be a really good time, I think, to read this book, as it's super fascinating, and it kind of shows how we get talked into things that we might not have been easily talked into or interested in before. This transit is also favorable for uncovering hidden truths, and it can help us access the unconscious mind, which I'm always here for. Be mindful of mental obsessions consuming you. You might find yourself hyper-focused on a particular subject or idea or area. Again, look to see where Mercury and Pluto are holding space in your chart. On July 19th, we have Mercury entering Leo. Who doesn't love the sign of Leo? I love Leo energy. Mercury, the planet of communication, learning, and our ability to process and share information, coming through the sign of affectionate, confident Leo. Leo is the lion. Leo is courage. Leo is the leader. Under this influence, we feel more confident with the ability to be more expressive. Look again to see where Leo occupies your chart, because we can be more persuasive, and we can also see this fire energy, this directness. It can be, of course, a little arrogant, a little boastful, but Leo has a big heart, a kind heart, a compassionate heart. It's that youthful, playful energy. It's the energy of the world. It's the energy the world really needs right now, because life has seemed really challenging, really hard, and there have been some harsh realities that life is tough lately. But Leo is playful, and Leo is reminding us to keep our hearts open and adopt that playful nature, because life can be full of joy if we can access it, if we can remember. And Leo is also the sign that has the capacity to forgive. So if there's parts of your life or relationships in your life that could use that forgiveness, or maybe even forgiveness within ourselves, forgiveness within the collective, this is a really good time to kind of lean into that. This is also such a playful energy. It's our ability to make time for fun and leisure. It occupies the 5th house if you're looking at the natal chart. And it also it's like dating, it's fun, it's adventure, it's ability to take risks, and it's our determination to be successful in our work endeavors. So not only playful, but it's also activating long-term goals and our determination to be successful. It also brings some creativeness. So if you're creative, this brings some nice creative energy. I love Leo energy because I love when that creative energy is activated. And with Mercury there, we're able to learn, communicate, and ignite that creative process. On July 19th, we also have the sun opposing Pluto. So there's power struggles here. So specifically with authority figures forcing us to stand up for ourselves. There's no surprise there considering what has been happening in the US. I'm in Canada, but I 100% still feel this activation of wanting to stand up for what we believe in. So a lot of power struggles, a lot of things have been happening to the world that have been bringing an uprising and igniting this this power within us, because I would say that some of us, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I would say that the recent events have really ignited activism in a lot of people, because people are tired of what is happening in the world, and we're getting fed up with what is taking place. And as a woman speaking, we are getting fed up with our rights being taken away from us. So people are rising and fighting for what we believe in and standing up for ourselves. So it's definitely going to be stronger around July 19th, as we are influenced in a more positive way because we have that ambition and we have that desire to make important decisions and changes that we might not have felt like we had the power to do before. So it can also bring some creative change, and any things that have been causing grievances or need fixings is on the rise now. It's being brought to the surface and it needs to be dealt with now. It can also show up as an overbearing or domineering energy, so being aware of that. And it's also important to be mindful of situations that promote violence. So being aware of that, and also, objects and machinery have a more likely tendency to break down under this influence. So as you can see, it's pretty intense energy. This is what I was talking about that like up and down energy of July. The astrology is pretty intense. So just being mindful of that and finding ways to protect your energy and create boundaries that create a safe and supportive environment for yourself. Remembering that in activism, in any activism, that rest is just as important as action. On July 22nd, we have the sun entering Leo. Again, that Leo energy. Sun moves into Leo, its home sign, making this a very harmonious placement. We love when the sun is in Leo, at least I do. It brings us more confidence with the ability to freely express ourselves. Leo season reminds us that when we are shining our boldest and brightest, we also encourage others to do the same. So when we are expressing and embodying our full authenticity, we are encouraging other people to also do that. And when we are in our true element, when we are in our truth, we are thriving. And when we are all thriving, then we are able to collectively grow and deepen and open our hearts. Leo is about love, about vulnerability. It's about our ability to open up our hearts and give and receive love. It's our capacity to love deeply. And we need that capacity. We need that compassion, and we need that kindness in the world right now. I say this often, and sometimes I feel like it can feel like fluff and it cannot feel authentic, but the world needs love, compassion, and kindness more than anything right now. A lot of the time when this place of hatred and anger comes from a lack of love, a lack of compassion. So the more we can spread that, the more we can be open to giving it, even when it is incredibly difficult. It is when it is most needed. So this energy encourages us to remain open, even when we've experienced hurt and disappointment. It's asking us to ignite that leader in us. How can you be the leader of your life? How can you lead with compassion? How can you lead with an open heart? How can you cultivate more love, kindness, and compassion for yourself? We are all leaders of our lives. How are we able to step into that potential? That is Leo season. Allow yourself to experience love from all aspects of your life, and above all else, cultivate self-love and self-acceptance. This energy is reminding you to experience joy, experience pleasure, and have fun. On July 23rd, we have Mercury trine Jupiter. So this is an excellent transit for making plans for the future. It can also influence us to ignore or avoid any mental or intellectual difficulties. Essentially, we want to be taking the easy way out, which honestly kind of makes sense because the world is heavy and making decisions feels hard. This can also bring incredible creative mental energy with Mercury in Leo, Jupiter in Aries. It's still direct and it favors all forms of business activity. So it's a good day to sign contracts, opens up and sharpens our minds to focus, and it generally brings feelings of optimism. It's that power of positive thinking element. So it's generally an optimistic energy, and I feel like we need little moments of optimism, right? We need little moments of remembering that things can be okay. And something that I always like to be mindful of is that we always think about manifestations, about thinking about like powerful things, but when we're thinking about negative things, when we're thinking about if we think that if we've lost hope and we're in the state of hopelessness, we're manifesting that collectively. So trying to adopt that attitude of power of positive thinking, because where our mind goes, energy flows. So keeping that in mind. On July 25th, we have Venus square Jupiter. So this is usually an agreeable transit in that you feel well and enjoy the company of others. It's a good day to do something you really, really enjoy. And we're in Leo season, so we want to experience pleasure. We want to experience joy. We want to be doing the things that is fun for us. So there's less discipline, less self-discipline. Anytime Jupiter is involved, especially with Venus, our values, our self-worth, our love for ourselves, we need to be mindful of overindulgence under this transit, because anything, too much of anything cannot be a good thing. So also being mindful of our spending. So of course, Venus rules our money. Jupiter is expansion. So we can have a tendency to overspend or splurge, and there can be spontaneous spending. So look to see where Jupiter is in your chart. So he's in Aries. And you can look to see where Venus is. Venus is in Cancer. So look to see in your chart where this is. And of course, always comment in the section below if you have questions. Always happy to answer them. Under this influence, we'll also have the ability to establish more discipline, and we can be more practical in favorable investments. So if we are disciplined and we are practical, this is a favorable transit for investments, but we need to avoid anything on impulse. So just keeping that in mind. Personal relationships are favored under this transit. July 26th. We have Mercury square Mars. So this can be quite a difficult transit because we can be more irritable. Conversations with others can be more triggering. That being said, we can also be more likely to defend ourselves and defend others and defend causes that are important to us. Again, that activism energy is coming through here. So important that we let go of the ego under this influence, because the ego can be really strong. And when we let the ego control us, we can have more aggressive and disruptive outbursts and energy. So making sure that you step outside of yourself and you step outside of the ego and allow yourself to maybe step in the role of the witness, so that you can make decisions and react in a more productive way. Because if we react in a heated way, the results are usually not favorable. So just keeping that in mind. Don't look for a fight. Don't look to start a fight. Only react in a way that is productive and long term. This is also can promote accident-prone behavior. So again, being aware of that impulsive energy and that anger. Make sure that if you are feeling heated or angered, make sure that you're not operating machinery. Make sure that you're not driving. Make sure that you're being careful because of that accident-prone energy. Of course, that doesn't mean that there's always going to be an accident in place. It just means that it's more likely that an accident could take place. So make sure that there's not like unnecessary aggression, and that you're just being careful when you're operating under this day. So that's July 26th. So if you're accident prone, be mindful of this day. On July 28th, we have Mercury square Uranus. So this can cause our mind to be more stimulated, fascinated by new ideas and revelations. Uranus is, of course, the planet of like change and wanting innovation, under the influence of like that Aquarius energy. And Uranus right now is in the sign of Taurus. So thinking of that. And then Mercury is also in the sign of Cancer. So looking to where this energy is taking place, because this is where we're fascinated by new ideas. This is where we're more likely to get bored more than usual. If you have a flexible nature, this will feel like an easier transit because you're able to jump from one thing to another. If you are generally not flexible and not a flexible person, this can bring up a lot of nervous tension and anxiety. So important to adopt that flexible attitude. Because with Uranus, I always like to say that expect the unexpected, because Uranus likes to shake things up, and it usually likes to shake things up in a very disruptive way. So making sure that you are finding a more flexible nature when it comes to things not going your way or not going the way that you planned. This can also be a fast-paced day. Ideas could be flowing really easily. Make sure that you are taking notes of these ideas, because just as quickly as these ideas are coming in, they're also fleeting. So making sure that you write it down, because this creative energy is going to work. You're going to be able to work out the details on the following day. So this is more of an impulsive energy. So just be mindful. Make sure that you are retaining the ideas that are coming in, because they're going to be fun and creative, but you could also lose them just as easily. So making sure you write it down. On July 28th, we also have that new moon in Leo. So love a new moon in Leo. It's a positive new moon. Forms a pleasant trine aspect with my all-time favorite planet, Jupiter. And so new moons offer us a fresh start, a new beginning. This lunar cycle kicks off a clean slate for the next 4 weeks. So we're learning to lead from the heart, inviting us to lead from a place that allows us to embody our most authentic selves, to tap into our truth. New moon in Leo brings up themes of love, our capacity for love. This is generally a pleasant new moon, which I love. I love a new moon in Leo. Look to see where Leo occupies your chart to see where these themes are coming through. Keeping in mind that Mercury and Uranus square, as it's allowing those ideas to form, and thinking about that new moon in Leo. Leo's creativity, Mercury and Uranus forming that square. New ideas are forming easily, but remembering that those ideas can quickly dissipate just as quickly as they formed. And yeah, it's definitely sparking very much inspiring new ideas, which is exciting. And on July 28th, we also have Jupiter in Aries stationing retrograde. So this slows down the expansion and growth of Jupiter. So looking to see again where Jupiter is occupying your chart, because it's going to slow down that expansion and growth. Jupiter's in Aries. Look to see where Aries is. And remember that we cannot always be expanding, that we need to find that balance between expansion and contraction. I talk about this a lot because we always want to be growing and we always want to be bettering ourselves, but sometimes we need to slow it down, reassess, reflect to make those next steps and to catch our breath and clear our vision for the future. So allow this retrograde to do just that. Coming to the end on July 31st, we have 2 transits. We have Mercury opposite Saturn. We have Sun trine Jupiter. So this is very serious thinking, concerned with our place in the world, and more concerned with practical needs, concerned with our identity, because it's that Mercury opposite Saturn energy. Feelings of loneliness and isolation can be present. So trying hard not to dwell on negative feelings or problems, and knowing that this won't last forever. Whenever I'm feeling negative or I'm feeling down on myself, I always try to practice gratitude and focus on what's good. I know that can feel really silly, and it can feel again like that fluffy energy, but sometimes when we can find gratitude for what we have, it helps us take less focus off of what's not good at the moment. So if you find yourself in a difficult situation, you are likely to be able to view the problem clearly and make practical solutions to solve said problems. This transit helps us require a great deal of discipline for anything that we need to focus on. I love a good focus energy, and try to find moments where you can relax, because we can be so hyper-focused on work and projects. Making sure that you're really taking time for yourself to slow down, catch your breath, and relax, because remember, rest is just as important as action. Coming to that Sun trine Jupiter, it is one of the most positive transits. The only thing is that if it's under the influence of anything powerfully negative, it might necessarily feel as positive. So we do have that Mercury opposite Saturn, not necessarily a negative influence, but it might balance that out a little bit. You might have the ability to focus on the good a little bit easier with that Sun trine Jupiter, because it brings good feelings and peace and harmony. Again, this energy generally helps us accomplish something good and enjoy good feelings. So allows you to make positive changes in your life and daily routine without feeling burdened or overwhelmed by these changes. So seeing if you can lean into that Sun trine Jupiter energy, focus on what's good, focus on gratitude, and trying not to let the negative feelings be the most prominent here. Our mind is eager for new experiences, trying something new, expanding your mind, and maybe even planning a trip for your future or a new adventure. So that is the astrology of July. Obviously, there's a lot of up and down energy. I highly recommend, again, adopting that attitude of ebb and flow, up and down, flowing like water. We are in Cancer season for the beginning part of July, and then we move into action-oriented Leo. Remember when those feelings of activism, of standing up for yourself, of standing up for something that you believe in, remembering that rest is just important as action, and to take care of yourself and to set boundaries that help you feel safe and secure. Remember to keep your heart open and your heart soft so that you have the ability to give, receive love, be open to compassion and kindness, and above all else, seeing if you can adopt compassion and kindness where it's most difficult. So where maybe you don't agree with something, maybe you don't agree with someone, seeing if you can find a way to understand where they're coming from and see a different perspective, different from your own. The world needs love and compassion and understanding. So seeing if we can find that, and remember to take care of you. Remember to take care of yourself. And Leo season is very, very much that self-love and that self-acceptance. So please, please, please lean into that. Lean into self-care. And I will leave you with this short meditation mantra, which is, may all beings everywhere be happy and healthy. May all beings everywhere feel safe and secure. May all beings everywhere adopt compassion and kindness, and may all beings everywhere live with ease. A short Ho'oponopono prayer that I love to use, and this is so helpful during Leo season, is I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and using that in any way that feels good for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. Please like this video, please comment, please subscribe if you haven't already, for weekly meditation, yoga, and astrology videos. If you have requests, please send them to me at hello@wildwanderingcreations.com. I've got astrology readings open for the month of July. Please book your spot. Lots of openings for that. I have astrology new moon and full moon gatherings. They are recorded and available to you. And I have a moon membership, a membership that will be expanding, and lots of great things coming in the month of September. If you would like to be a part of the community, it's $29 a month. It's extremely affordable, and the community is beautiful, and we gather twice a month, and we experience the energy together, and it's a good way to kind of understand what's going on, because in those workshops you also get 2 astrology readings every single month, which is amazing. It helps you work with that energy and gives you some clarity, some insight into the happenings of July. So I hope I'll see you at one of those offerings. If not, maybe I will see you taking some of my classes through YouTube. Thank you for being here, everyone. My name is Laurel. I am an astrologer, a yoga teacher, and a meditation teacher, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you.